Can you hear me okay? Yeah, that's better. I'm going to walk around. That's okay with everybody. First, let me thank the board for inviting me here. It's an honor. I look forward to serving you folks. Anything I can do for you, I'm glad to help you if I can. I believe the board asked me to come here because of our journey and our story from printing to print management all the way up to MSP, managed service organizations. I believe we all have similar beginnings and we all care about printing, and the story and the journey should resonate is the hope. If you're not here because of printing, if you're not here to serve the printing community, this is not going to resonate very well. You're here to gamble, tax break, see the shows. Be gentle with me. I don't get paid to do this for a living, so just bear with me for about 30 more minutes. You got all that information. I don't think anybody wants me to cover anything about myself. If you do, please ask questions all the way through now or later. You don't have to segue, ask away anything anytime. This is the agenda. I'm going to go over the ServIT overview. I'm going to talk about managed services, the evolution of our thoughts and how we got there. Print management was our first offering that we really focused on because our DNA and our culture was printing. And so it was the most logical thing to get aligned with early on. Inside of managed print, we actually patent-pended something that I'll explain to. All-you-can-eat technology is kind of a methodology inside of print management. And the strategic partners, without them, we couldn't have done the job. ServIT, in business 18 years, like I said earlier, we care about printing, we care about print management. We are to the core of printing company. We evolved over the years. We actually sold some servers, both for IBM, HP, Dell type stuff. But we were truly a hardware sales company. Print and print maintenance is the core of who we are. We're currently in 16 states, 20 cities, all east of the Mississippi, and that's our current geography with about 100 employees. We're tracking closer to 21 million this year. 50% of that is service dollars. I couldn't have said that 5 years ago. So our service number is radically increasing. And if everybody knows what Moore's Law is, faster, smaller, cheaper, people in the hardware business have some significant problems right now. Because it's the same amount, if not more expensive, to sell hardware, gas going up, salaries going up, dinners going up, and margins going down. Percentages are the same, but the margins themselves are going down. So our revenue, even though they're somewhat, they've grown a little bit, all of the growth inside that number are service dollars. Clients globally is a stretch. We do have some e-commerce tools. We do about $500,000 a year using search engine optimization and websites to drive printer parts and used gear. So we do have a South African customer. We do have one in Australia. It just plays nice to say we're global. Just a little side there. So that's what ServIT is. Culturally, we should be very similar to the folks in this room. Perspective. We all come from the same group. You know, we all cut our teeth under a Xerox, Printronix, and IBM, Lexmark. We all cut our teeth somewhere along the way. We all had a very similar perspective. We had to change that perspective 5 years ago, where I'm pretty sure I would either have sold ServIT or I would have been bankrupt. That's how dire I think this economy is, and where the IT spend is going. So we had to change our perspective. Does anybody know who Seth Godin is? Mm-hmm. There's a couple. We think he's a rock star. Our whole marketing strategy is geared around everything Seth does and did. So we had to start evolving around a different approach of who we were and where we were going. About the same time, we started to realize, does anybody know about the Zappos story? Pretty cool little business transformation. We started realizing that companies made up of assets, process, and policies are basically culture. And we were really focused on the assets. We changed all that 5 years ago. We focused on our culture and our process. And we had to change our perspective on what that meant. Dave Ramsey fans? We think he's a rock star. We changed our money, how we are stewards of money. Is anybody in the banking business here? We can't stand bankers anymore. We don't borrow money from them anymore. Everything's radically different. We're totally debt-free. We were not debt-free 5 years ago. We had lines of credit. We were tied to the bank, long-term, short-term debt, like everybody else. And debt-free, we are our own bank. Because we changed our perspective. He's a rock star. We believe he's a rock star. Another thing we did, and before I go there, I truly believe that if you look at the supply chain of IT, and I don't care if you go up or down or right or left, there's the Oracle SAP people, they probably think they're at the top of the food chain. And then there's the middleware stack and services and consulting, and then somewhere there's printing. Important, but not a focus. The transformation to managed services, I have a strong belief system that our processes to create and build a company are better suited to a managed services model from a printing methodology versus if you're going to go downstream from Oracle or SAP back towards managed services. I believe they have a difficult road to hoe. The problem with the printing model is it's in our heads, and it's not franchisable. And the biggest fault that we started with is not writing down what we wanted to do. So we literally wrote and mapped every single thing on where we were going. This particular tool is actually called a mind map. It's very cheap. I want to say it's a $500 a year license. And every single thing we did starting new is now in a map on somebody's wall, whether it's an offering, whether it's an acquisition, whether it's a new job description, everything is written down. So, yes, sir. Say one more time. It's actually, mind map is actually the name of it. Yeah, it's not my word, I stole it, but it's truly the name of the product. And don't hold me to it, but it's very affordable. Everybody tells me that, and I believe them, so it's like $500. And I think we have about 6 people using that license. So writing down and franchising the new model is in our best interest because we have great processes. We have text going out, we have part logistics. We're really good. The problem is we never wrote it down, and the transformation requires a new roadmap. So that's why the slide's up there. Any questions on this one? Yes, sir. I'm going to segue and answer your question. One of the hardest things that we felt was to align our people, especially if somebody that was really, really good in printing. And they had long years and they really wanted to be a great printing person, whether it was a tech, salesperson, or manager. Breaking that belief system was very difficult. So what we did is we formed a group to change the world. We sat down, we shared ideas, and we started printing them out for each meeting. So we had small groups at first, sharing ideas openly. And if you guys read Seth, he calls it being artistic. The art of our business was creating the new, mind map it, and the group started small. We've had a meeting every morning at 8 o'clock for the last 5 years, never missed, to align our team around these types of strategies. The group now is conference calls and WebExes from a couple of people. So it's grown. It was difficult at first because how much do we love change? We really love that a lot. it's not really something we're good at. So we started very small, and to be honest with you, very strategic people started here. We now have administrative people, very, very talented, in creating the maps so the leaders and the drivers don't have to spend the time doing the actual work. I'm not saying that they're strategic today, but because they're building it, they get aligned quicker. It was a really good question. That was a really big part of our journey. Say it one more time. Do I have other people using this? Another great question. So we're a real believer in needs-based and outcome-based selling. That's another whole conversation. I'm very passionate about that. I'll stay as long as you want. I'll talk to you blue in the face about that. But needs-based selling is so powerful that discovering the need is the number one thing that we've discovered ourselves during this journey. We now will get our customers to talk to us about this when they come visit us and actually build their mind maps and their underlying technology. And we almost will do it for free, keyword almost, if you'll give us the underlying managed services. If the number's high enough, we will give this away. Very, very aligned with your customers. If you do this for your customer, they'll never leave. It's impossible. You know everything. So yes, we do it for customers. Anybody else on that? Stole some of the Gartner stuff. We believe in the statistics. When we did our SWOT analysis, we wanted to know where printing was going, what our customers were looking at, how they perceived the marketplace. So we took some of these and showed you some of the things that we had to do to transform. I'm going to pause right here. When I started this 5 years ago, most of the smart people in my life told me not to do it. They said, start a new company. You'll never get people to change. This is so radically different, even though it's printing, it's consulting, you'll never get them to change. Start a new company. I did not listen to them. And in the beginning, I wanted to kick myself. But at the end, I'm glad I did. The people that transform are the happiest people on the planet. They're culturally driving our business. They've learned something new. They're part of the creation of the new world for us. And they are truly remarkable individuals. The flip side of that is I've lost some very close friends, about six of them. I watched their kids grow up. They couldn't make the transformation. So the sadness is there, but the overwhelming joy of watching people transform. I don't know about everybody has a chance to lead in their life, but it has nothing to do with money. It's watching individuals grow, and we've witnessed it here. Very, very powerful movement where people transform. So this talks a little bit some of the stuff that we had to do. Another aspect, 1, 2, 3, the fourth one down, invest in building and not. I call this the means of production. I get asked this all the time. If I started today, would I write the check to be the means of production? And I say no. When I did this, there was SunGuard, there was Rackspace was just getting started in the managed services piece, and it was too expensive for me, so I built everything. I don't think I'd do it today. Amazon's out there, Synapse has got everything, everybody's got stuff. Why would I be the means of production? They're better at it than I am. But I'm so heavily invested, I'm going to ride it out. But I don't think I would do that today. Does everybody understand what I mean by means of production? So we started the MSP evolution, and we started swatting everything. And this is just explaining some of our thinking of how we move to managed services. And the analogy we kept going back to was everybody has, just about everybody has a car, my work anyway, well, usually two, and everybody believes that oil changes every 3,000 to 5,000 are mandatory. I just don't want to do them anymore. It's almost unaffordable. So something that needs to be done, but I just don't want to do it. So that's the thought process. That's how we started actually print management and the managed services piece of our business. What do we have to do to be great at oil changes? What do we have to do to be great to remove the hassle of printing completely and totally from their docket and say, here's your bill, we got it, push the SLA, push the business intelligence, push it to their iPhones, push it to wherever they want, their email, push it to a website, and make it go away for a fixed fee. So that's how we began the methodology. Any questions on that? The buying habits of our customers. 5 years ago, in Trenton, New Jersey, 79 newspapers, the largest privately held newspaper conglomerate in the United States. We did all their printing and their system maintenance, but they made a conscious decision 5 years earlier to go off the AS400 and go on Oracle and Sun Solaris. And every couple of months, one of their programmers or anybody that had to do with the AS400 was leaving the shop. We started picking up their business more and more. We got to a point of no return where there was nobody left in the building in the AS400 and they have not migrated off the Sun Solaris. And we went to basically their board of directors and they said, take this crap out of our building. They raised our hand and said, sir, is that a technical term? We just don't really know what you mean. Anything to do with this, you take it. That was the birth. And you could have called it hosting back then, you could have called it hardware as a service. It was a managed service opportunity that birthed the ServIT really into this business. So people are starting to tell us this. I promise you, I'd say once every 3 or 4 months, somebody says something very similar, take this crap out of my building. And they truly need servers, hassle. It's 17 out of 20 deals we do have a component of people buying differently. Gartner, I believe, has a statistic that says in 2014, the CIO's budget in corporate America is going to be cut in half. But the spend in IT is going to double. It's just not going to be spent by the CIO. Line of business and marketing people. And we were always talking to the IT people. It's going away. Yes, sir.
So just on that very point you made, that's the second time recently I hear that stated differently. So would you agree then with the statement that the CIO's level of influence is drastically shifting, reducing, in the sense that is it going down into the line of business or is it going to another seat?
I have two opinions on that one question. There is a radical move from a CIO person to step into the line of business conversations and talk to them about their goals and their business needs. And don't say, I need IBM, I need Dell, I need HP. The branding's gone. And so there's some rock stars that are transforming. I have 1,300 clients, I know 2. So there's a small migration to really becoming a rock star at the CIO level. They get this. Unfortunately, most of them are hugging their staff, they're protecting their job, and I have a lot of empathy for them. I'm not saying it's not tough, but all of this stuff that made them powerful and wealthy is going away. The ones who are embracing it are really doing well. The ones that are not are seeing them have a little bit of a struggle. And then you see people that are running a division that stood up a server in Rackspace and he's not even managing that anymore. So they're splintering the authority and the service inside the organization because of the hugging. That is a question. Anybody else on this? Because this is pretty powerful. Psychography of our customer is radically different in the last 2 years. Throw in a millennium in the mix, and you're really screwed. Is anybody too young? It's a whole other level. They don't want to talk to you. It's texting. They want to buy everything on the web. So if you're not embracing all of these new habits, it's a very difficult journey. I talked about earlier, we tried to make print management very special to us. We actually patent pended this. We thought Xerox was trying to steal us, so we ran to a lawyer. We patent pended this. Excuse me? Oh, perfect. So we really got a patent pending. It's a level pay. Meaning, We took accounting now out of the hassle. So if you do print management, it's a penny a page. You're still involved. Susie has Girl Scouts, 20,000 copies go out. What happened? Here comes the bill. Mins and Max. Guy only prints 2 pages. Why is this bill so much? Accounting has always been in the mix. We stitched together some tools. We didn't create anything, and we built an all-inclusive methodology that we guarantee your bill's going to be X amount every month, including every year. Tremendous, tremendous play in the marketplace. So we made managed services our own by doing that. There was a lot of questions at the board and director level about that. So does anybody want to talk about specifically about that offering? It is a little unique. I'm glad to mention that now or later.
I was just going to ask, how do you mitigate risk in that scenario, given the 20,000 page
mitigation of risk was just asked, how do I manage it? I manage it as an enterprise level, not at the serial number level. So the tools that we stitch together look at the account versus the serial number. So every month when we look at it, we go, did we make money, did we lose money? And as long as we stay in the making the money, we don't get too nervous. If the account goes over inside our SLA, we have the right to go back and say, you've done something different. We need to talk to you. Oh, I forgot to tell you I added 10 more printers. Of course we didn't know that. But something had changed, and twice we had to bring it back up, and they've admitted something had changed in their business. And of course, we just reset the level payment. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, there's a lot of people that talk about this, and it's a really good opportunity to actually hear someone who's actually doing it. And just any insights you've had as far as how difficult was it for you to make the transition from a cost per page, which I assume you still do, but to add this as well.
So your question is, how difficult was it?
Yeah.
Once we raised our hand and said we're broken, it's kind of like the 12-step program in alcoholics. Once you stand on life in alcoholics, everything got easy. It was hard to raise your hand, I'll tell you. If you're making money, you've been doing it a long time, that was a very difficult day in our life. But once people started doing it, they realized we were the cause. We created this environment. We have the ability to create it in a better state. So this offering went first. I believe the CEO of Oakley once said on one of his YouTubes that we don't think out of the box. There is no blank box in our building. We kind of have that mentality now. So once we got to that belief system that we can do anything, things got easier. But it's always tough, and it's not that the thinking's so hard. It's to allow thinking to happen in a culture where you get praised. We say we can't wait to fail quick so we can change the mind map. I mean, that's not really normal. We want our people to fail. Because if you fail, something will be burnt out. So the mind map is a way of going in and pointing out a point in time failure and say, oh my God, we failed quicker this time. So culturally, we allow people to fail. As long as you're part of the consortium and you don't throw anybody under the bus. No finger pointing. So the culture is everything in this mentality. Sure.
How are customers respond to this compared to a variable like cost per page program?
Anybody on this program loves it. We do have a downside. We're not showing them that we love them so much because they have no more problems. So our project management team is show the love better in 2014. Push more documentation. Oh, by the way, everything's wonderful. We do send some SLA reporting every week to every one of our managed service customers. But the problem is the C-level people weren't seeing the love. So we actually have a program called CIO in a Box, and we're going to add a C-level person to every one of these where they can just say, just want you to know, we've tracked 37 issues last week. Every one of them's closed. We love you. Drill down if you want more. So it's the showing of the love has been the only problem. Because it goes to sleep. Yes?
Jim, can you speak, Tony, to the pricing model in a bit of detail in terms of the variables like number of impressions, if color output exceed certain levels? Because I think there's some question at our table about how you put this
That's
together.
why it's bad.
What's that?
We really think this is, that's why we patented it.
Oh, okay.
No, but I can speak to it. Just think of your DC all the knowledge you get, it's all right there. How do you make it happen? Correct. So we actually include hardware as a service as part of our managed services. So some people don't even own the printer. We own the printer. We own everything. And all of those little costs and all of those little opportunities, if something breaks, if something has to be shipped, all is tracked. And we track each individual aggregate thing over the account. So as we track our costs, the cost of the month, as long as she doesn't flip to negative, we're good.
So is it a month amount all inclusive?
Oh no, there's not a big, if there's printers in there that I own, it's a 3-year deal. If I don't have the asset, it's usually about 90 days and then 30 days to cancel. The reason being is start up, but basically it's a 30-day contract. Just think of UDC on steroids. Is all it is. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the question on the customers. How big are the customers for this program?
How big? Endless. We're in the middle of so I told something last night in Rock. We have the biggest pig farm in the United States. We flew out, there's 200 locations. It's huge. It's $25,000 a month. I don't know if that's big enough. From Xerox perspective, from my world, it's huge. So it's 480 printers or something.
About the lower end, if you have a customer with 5 printers.
I have a CPA firm with 1 big printer and 1 throwaway printer on this program. 3 PCs, 1 CPA, 2 helpers. Loves us. Thinks we're the cat's pajamas. They love us. Endless. There's no issue whatsoever. Anything else on all-inclusive? It's kind of a game changer for us. Kind of a value proposition as well. It's hard to compete with as well. Yes, sir.
Do you guys self-finance or do you finance through third party?
Because of Dave Ramsey, we are the bank. I couldn't have said that 5 years ago. If I were not in that position, there's tons of people probably in this room that have ways to, and there's lots of ways I've heard people do this. For example, if you wanted your money up front, if you still were a margin-based company, you sold 10 printers, they could want home. You can lease it, capture your margin now if you need the money, or you can take your time, your money over time. So we've seen lots of opportunity to do that when we get started. We actually do that for other business partners. We have a huge fleet of used gear that'll call and go, hey, I don't really sell printers, put on a monthly fee and send me my margin. So we can actually do that for other partners as well, or have to.
So how do you handle the risk around, let's say a company goes bankrupt and you've got 100 printers that you guys are financing?
There's an automotive, anybody in the Northeast, there's a company called Strauss Automotive. We had brand new OK Data printers. And because they were in and out of bankruptcy, we said for every 3 months you pay me, I think it was $14,000 a month, I will refresh 2 stores. I think each store got 2 printers, something like that. I don't remember. So over time, I think every 3 months prior, we paid for the next rollout. So when it was all said and done, they filed again, and we got all our printers back, and we sold them on the used market rate over money. So there's ways in your SLA to protect yourself. And things do happen, obviously D&B, obviously you can sell the paper to a bigger bank, and in a non-recourse position, you have some paper. Lots of ways, we're really strong financially when it comes to leasing, so we get that. But if you're not really savvy on the financial side, do a non-recourse with someone, take a margin up front, let them take a risk. Because they know how to do the D&D really strong. Did that help? Yeah. Yes, sir.
So if you look at your portfolio of all-inclusive clients, what percentage would you say the client still owns the asset or you own the asset? I mean, it sounds like you do some of both.
Wrong. It's most of the time they own it because it's legacy, but when the refresh happens, it's getting popular not to own anything. I'm talking about switches, anything boring. It's moving very, very fast where they want the appliance space. Everybody familiar with the term appliance space? Everybody grew up in the Northeast, ragu. Is there garlic in there? Is there bacon? Yeah, everything's in there. Who cares? Just buy it, right? Everyone's on that methodology. Just give it a leave me alone. Switches, routing, sonic walls. I would say 50% of them don't want to own it. might have $1 million of stuff out there available. So it's very, very popular. But your first answer is most of the time today they own it, but the next purchase, it's 50-50. It's growing that fast. From our perspective. Any other questions? And please feel free to come back. We'll get,
Does it take longer to discover your customer to come up with that price than it does under the old method of the cost per page?
I would say yes, but not ridiculously longer, because then someone like me or somebody financially has got to get in the mix to make sure it's not too big, not too crazy. Are we going to invest in this? Because there's times you take a hit, but it's not a ridiculous amount. Please, if you have other questions later, as the next slide, just please pop them out. Don't worry about it. I missed the first part.
What is the margin range of the all-inclusive program for you, roughly?
Ridiculous. Everything we're doing in managed services is blowing me away. 65 to 80% margin. Because we're the means of production, but I've already paid off the CapEx. Like I said, if I would have done it differently, I might have gave up some margin, let someone do it better, so I could go faster. If someone else was the means of production of some of our services, I think we'd give up about 20 to 25 points. But then I'm not managing it. My bench utilization radically drops. I'll substitute offerings, the means of production, if my bench goes down. Does that help or hurt? Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming you're the only one in your markets that are doing this type of work.
I don't know of anybody in the world doing this.
What are your competitors? What's their reaction to it, I guess?
We didn't grow up in the copy business, so we are truly IT people. We don't have any competition. We are our own worst enemy. All of these monster deals we have on the table, this pig farm thing, please build my website so my people can purchase first. We'll get to that later. Their CapEx seems to be released a little bit. So since we sell IT and we sell services, some of that new system first before the end of the year, then we'll get back on printing. It's not a focus for our customers. I was telling Rob last night, a $26 billion company, $6 billion of it's in the U.S., and we ran our DC on them, and we came to them and said, and these guys love us, you're spending $385,000 a month in toner. We could do it for $295 under this label. Well, take this off your plate. He said, if you tell my boss this, I'll shoot you as my partner. We're so busy rolling out loss, I don't have time. It was $100,000 a month. So our biggest problem is focus, both from our sales reps and our customers. We don't think we have competition. That sounds a little humorous, but I don't mean it that fashion. Yes, sir.
How many of these contracts have you written that's got print wrapped into that?
Print meaning, I own the printer?
No,
All inclusive by itself, with or without printing, is about 50% of my offering, and it's about $60,000 a month. The goal is to get to $100,000 a month. We have 42 offerings in cloud managed services. Now, I'm not referring to maintenance or traditional toner. I'm only talking about managed print, and 50% of it's this. And the need is everything. I think I told someone the largest soybean cooperative in the world came to us and said, we have 29 locations, and my controller is buying toner. I pay an X amount, you do the hours, it doesn't make sense. So we discovered the need very quickly. It goes in very, very easy. When I'm dealing with the IT people, and Susie orders the toner, and she likes the deal, we like Susie, it becomes complicated.
You spoke about CapEx a moment ago, and I was curious what you're finding in the market with your customers. A challenge we see, conceptually, this is beautiful. I think you're on something, right? And even managed print, not quite as what I call avant-garde as this. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Still a significant part of our customer base says that's almost their words. So that's great, except for here's how I buy things. I have a CapEx budget, and I I have to do it this way, and I can't get from here to there, do you change your program to meet their procurement, or do you spend your time changing their procurement?
Lisa might hate me, but you've just hit what I think the number one problem we all have, and we got lucky and discovered. Every manufacturer of IT has tricked us. They want us to become product specialists. So we know every feature and benefit of everything they sell, and we're worried about customers go, look what I got for you. What I'm really doing is showing you my account plan so you buy it. I'm going to, but I love you. But you're going to help me get some new cars. We've been doing this so successfully for so many years that we never have change. Well, if you don't say, I do make a living, and I do make a mission, and go to your customer and go, forget about brand X. Tell me what's on your plate. Tell me what you do. What are your goals, your mission? What are your needs on? The need is I don't need to do Toshiba or do Lexmark or a new thing. What it is I can't turn my inventory. Or we have a new initiative to save 10% of it. There's something that we've never focused on. So if you align yourself with the goal and the outcome, you become a strategic partner. Your salespeople are going to hate your guts because they're not going to change. Because they want to be the smartest people in the room. They want to sell the products. They've done it, made billions of dollars over it. That's the message. What we've done is we've slowly anticipated the needs of our customers. I told someone this morning, right about now, you're going to see a woman in a car with 2 kids, the snow coming down, so the guy with deep voice to go, if you want your life driving in the snow, you better put your hand for it. Press the buttons on the screen. They anticipate the need of safety. Not that their Presto is better than brand X at Walmart, because that's product-based. It was your wife's safety and your kids, your pride and your joy in that car. So they put a need of security around the product. So there's only 3 methodologies in selling: product, process, and outcome. And we are 100% product-based, and everything we do is broken. It's totally broken. And the people buying it from us, we've trained them for hundreds of years how to buy it. So they work on us based on a product methodology. We have to change that. Search engine optimization goes after the hunter who's looking for security, computing power, collaboration, not SharePoint, collaboration. Nobody really wants to be in the printing business. It's a necessary thing. I want to do it, but I still want to manage it. So you have to find the right people. So search engine optimization has helped us achieve a predetermined need. So if you go to our website, a lot of things we're doing is we're trying to stimulate the need through our offerings to keep our salespeople on track so they can discover the need. It's difficult. I got about half. They make so much money doing it their way, we let them go. We're not going to change it. But it's a very difficult road, but necessary. That answer, it's tough.
So you have an answer.
It is. It's
How do you fix it tomorrow?
I don't have any pills. Sorry. It's hard work. It's new thinking, and it doesn't cost any money. Just require time, effort, and changing. So we all have that in our capacity. Anybody else? I can come back. Have it clicker. You know, the bigger firms seem to be easier on this, but they're very product oriented, so it's very price sensitive. The medium-sized firms, to me, we call mid-market. I don't know how it defines your marketplace. Mid-market to me is 50 million to 600 million in revenue, over 100 PCs, 500 PCs. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's what we call it. They don't understand managed services because they've hired everybody. They're now being challenged with less people and more work. So they don't even know what MSP means. They probably do now, but the last 5 years have been very different concepts. They hired the guy or the gal. So to me, that's the greatest market to sell this stuff, in my opinion. This came right out of the Barber stuff. Print is going up. I think we talked about maybe in 17 it's going to change. The millennium get older. But right now it's still good. You know, I put this up here because IT is being impacted so radically by the new way of buying that all our relationships for years has been on the IT side, and our reps don't want to do two things. Go above their buddy, because then he'll get mad at us, she'll get mad at us. But if he or she is retiring, they're afraid to talk business to the C-level person, because they know they don't want to talk about price and things or features and benefits. So that gap right now is truly a transformative way to change your business. You can bridge those together and be easy to move your company forward. You know, and I know some of you, maybe more than half of you, are actually serving companies like ours. If you've spent any time in the last couple of days, I probably said this to you. Help me discover the need. Partner with me to help me get better at outcome-based selling. Shrink my gaps, and I'll buy your stuff. So this supply chain of outcome-based selling is not just from me to the end user, from you to your end user. I think our supply chain has an obligation to help us achieve these newnesses in our business. So this is not just from here to the street, and you guys still sell us products. I prefer you help us with our endeavor. So hopefully this resonates with everybody here. Gardner, again, 50% of all help desk problems, print related. So that's once again in the middle. I don't know about you, but if you do printer maintenance, what is it, like 50% of the time they just swap the thing out? No one's fixing anything anymore. It's cheaper. I'll just FedEx the thing over there, give me one back, and I'll rake the parts out and bag it in tag or something. But send the guy out or gal out, it's getting antiquated, right? So the technology knowledge is dropping. The really good techs that are focused on real high dollar stuff, I don't want them fixing printers anymore. They've migrated away. They don't even want to do it. This is all IT related, increased downtime, storage of supplies. I'll tell you what, that's one of our, I didn't see that on the Gartner report, but when you show them their supply cabinet with all their supplies and they don't know the printers anymore, it's a wake-up call. That ring, does anybody know what ITEL is? Raise your hand, ITEL. That's the standard we live by. We are an ITEL certified shop, and for a $20 million company, it's very weird, it's very expensive. That's the only way we do business. Each one of those dark, I guess they're pentagons, is a ITEL principle, and the one that has the money in it is actually left open because that's what's going to grow and change into our world. So each one of our offerings is wrapped around an ITEL standard. And we just threw that up there just to show you we incorporate ITEL in everything we do. Hardware, toner, parts, logistics, field labor, help desk, equals money. You guys probably know all this. Printing, you guys are in the business. Just-in-time ordering. Supplies, slow normal stuff that we do for a living. The only thing we did different was this piece. All you can eat. Just keep ordering, or we'll drop ship. And the other thing we do, I don't know if anybody does this, is we actually, because we're pretty good at commerce, if you have enough locations and you still want to participate, what that means, we can actually give you a website with a unique password for every location, like a pig farm. That's what intrigues them. Everybody is signing in. Some of the farms, believe it or not, does not have internet connection. You're shocked at that. So they have got to order in different ways. So when they go home, they'll go online and order something. That unique password goes to a cart, shows 0. At the end of the month, every location will have a unique location, all the orders, and now the management can actually manage what everybody's doing. You see the American Express card with 0, this is all you need. So I'm actually giving them data by location. So some people want to participate, we let them do it online if they want. Or we can drop ship it based on DC. You know, this is the tools, you know, the process and the policies I talked about. Just put this up here to show you that you got to focus on your process, you got to write it down, and you got to affect your culture. You got to affect your culture as you can't transfer. All-inclusive printing, once again, same thing. I put this up here because it's another passionate thing of mine, and it's very difficult. The analogy I always use is when Ford was rolling off the Model T, how many people were still making buggy whips? Probably a lot. And everybody was going, I make the best buggy whip, I'm going to be here forever. Well, there's somebody right now probably making buggy whips, maybe one. Right? And the Model T kicked off. Well, during that transformation, somebody's work was no longer worthwhile, meaning someone wasn't going to write a check for it. You could be the best, but if no one's going to write a check for it, what do? Well, there's a couple of people, we gave them 6 months to find worthwhile work. But they kept saying, I'm really, really good at this. We kept saying that nobody's writing us a check for that. Help me help you. Very difficult in the printing world. We're so good at what we do, and if we don't rethink, and if we don't create art and groups to build and find out where this worthwhile work is leaving, don't put a human being's name on it, just put a job. That job is losing value. How do we do more with less? Share workloads, create an environment where that person can survive, and they, once they get the new job, they'll admit they were in business. Dispatching, any guy does their own maintenance company? Breaking into maintenance? Dispatch, right? We had 7 people last year dispatching. Busy. It's 3 people now. They're still on Facebook, we're still talking, and we're busy and we have more accounts. Guess what we did? We used technology. The customers were involved, the technology was involved. We made their work more worthwhile. And we didn't get rid of those folks and redeployed them. We put 2 people on the knock. They wanted to learn technology. So worthwhile work during transformation, the noticing of it, the documenting it, and then finding a way to either create more or redistribute. Probably one of the hardest things we did in transformation. Become a managed service provider. By far. Back to your original question. This is the, I forget which quadrant this is, I forget the psychologist's name. But I use this all the time when I'm having a one-on-one with somebody trying to find themselves in our work. And what happens is, when you drive a car, you're 16 or 17, you learn to drive a car, you're unconsciously incompetent. You're thinking about going on a date with a girl, with a guy, or whatever. You're going to a prom, I'm going to dance, I pick myself up from school. I'm wonderful. Then you start driving, and very quickly you realize you're very incompetent. And you fall into the next quadrant of your conscious incompetent. The quadrant I use at my desk is a ladder from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3. That requires self-suffering. Learning something new. Googling MSP every day for 4 years from now. I knew nothing about this. Every one of our leaders is self-suffering in a way to go up that ladder to be a conscious competent. Just think of the driving again. So once you climb that ladder, you're on I-75 or I-20 or 90. Or, all of a sudden you have 2 hands on the wheel. No smoking, no tweeting, no radio blast. You become pretty good. You make a parallel turn. You're pretty safe. You go pretty slow. You become an unconscious competent. Cigarette, tweeting, Snapchat, selfies, whatever they're doing, radio blast. 2,000-pound vehicle, 75 miles an hour. It's a death trap. And we're doing 9 minutes. That's how we were in printing. We were an unconscious competent. We're so good at it. We forget we have to learn something new. So you have to go back and look stupid and train yourself and go through this quadrant of a new business model. And we don't like to do this. And you know what's even better? If you guys are leading, you're doing it, and you get all excited, you tell everybody that we look stupid for a while, they don't believe you. They don't follow you right. But this is the path of what we take. So this quadrant is very important to us to transformation. I forget the name. It's not Maslow's needs. Because there's another psychiatrist. Worthwhile. Maslow?
Maslow's there.
You get this. There you go. Any questions about this? This is pretty powerful stuff on transformation. Uh, 5 years ago, every single partner of ours, whether it's a customer, we started evaluating our customers' profitability, to our supply chain, our bankers, our lawyers, CPAs. Everyone's on the table looking at important ones. And the people that were transforming, take my hat off to Steve and Synapse, they seem to be transforming MSP about the same time we were. Without them, it would have been very difficult work. They helped us radically. And there are other partners in this room as well. But they got it early. I'm going to be honest with you. IBM, clueless. They can build a cloud, and they can sell it to American Express, but they can't make the channel. The channel's so broken for 3 years. I've been like their poster child flying around talking these kind of speeches to them, and they don't get it. The channel is so broken, but they will get it, and they will be great with it, just not right now. Synapse is probably, as far as all the distribution, Avnet, Narrow, I don't know if you guys do business with them, completely clueless on the channel. They get it, they've helped us out radically, and there are other partners as well. CompTIA, you guys are tracking, you have education, you're thinking about this. You invited me here for the same reason. I believe you guys are going to start growing and changing as well. This would be a great place to be able to talk about this evolution. Once again, we think our partners are supply chain. Back in the day we ran through, I like telling the story. Now that we're our own bank, every bill we get, my CFO calls them up and says, I owe you $20,000, would you like your money now? Yes, if you send it today, I'll give you 2%. We're averaging $2,000 a month of prepaying our invoices because we have cash, because we took care of everything in our supply chain, from our CPAs, our lawyers, our partners, our customers. Everything now is measured to our standards and our goals, and we're all aligned. Because of that, cash is king, and now we're taking advantage of it. Without this methodology, we would not be standing here. 480% growth in 27 months. 27 months straight of profit. And we were in the exact same spot as everybody else. And all we did was change. That's all we did. Now, I put this here, you might think it's because I want your opinion of me, and I mean nothing. Public opinion is held in reverence. It settles everything. So I think it is the voice of, some think it is the voice of God. I'm referring to your customers. They're talking to you. You're not listening. You're showing them your complimenting wares, like Mr. Haney. They want us to stop. And they want us to have coffee with us. And they want us to talk about what you really want. Because nobody wants to buy brand anymore. Brand is agnostic. It's the partner that I trust to bring the right brand with us. So as long as we all get aligned into that methodology, we're all going to go to that. There's very few people that change. And the ones that do are going to go to that. So that's the reason I put this up there. Questions? More questions? Any questions? Yes, sir.
So having played football, how does that work?
As you probably can tell, I'm a little bit passionate about this. And I think that transcends from sporting life. Competitiveness is ridiculous. The guys in the back, sometimes they watch some tape and they play football back there. Someone's winning. I mean, everybody's competitive. That's the spirit we have. Whether it's ping pong, whether we go to the gym and we run or play basketball, everything's competitive. Our culture has a competitive edge, and maybe that's driven from a sporting background. Yes, ma'am.
You talked a lot about the transformation of culture and the culture piece that's a big part of how you lead in your business. I'm just curious, you know, the people that you had a hard time moving along with you, and obviously some of you had to remove from the bus. But how did you mentor them? And are all of your employees in the same physical location, or do you have disparate locations where you're managing that as part of your culture?
We took the high road to your first question. Every single place. sat everybody down, put a roadmap in front of them. We're talking people making $150,000. We're not talking about some $30,000, warehouse guys. We're talking about significant revenue. We know their kids, we know their wives, their spouses. Sit them down and said, look at your building. You're averaging 3 hours a month. But you forgot about the smartest people in the country. And I didn't forget that. Our customers do. They don't want to write the check. And we sat them down and we tried to make them aware. And they nodded their head at first. We said, every Friday we're going to do this. You're going to come here and you're going to learn. For example, this one particular gentleman I'm referring to is brilliant on the I-Series, the ASD. But he had to learn virtualization on the Microsoft side. If you'll learn this, I'll send you to VM school or whatever. I'll give you $5,000 for it. It was 100% education, investment. 6 months. He came 2 Fridays and never showed up. And then disappeared.
So he opted
out. And we sleep at night knowing that he opted out. We did not kick anybody out. We have tried desperately to merge jobs, to educate every single way. We lost 6 very near and dear people during this transformation.
And then my follow-up question was, are all of your employees in the same physical location, or do you have...
We are disparate.
Okay, so you have remote workers as well. So how do you instill culture among your remote workers?
Difficult, but because of our no-box mentality, we actually became really proficient in SEO. In order to become real good at SEO, you have to do video content. You have to give away your knowledge. That's what Seth says. Give away. I'm not going to give it. So we have video content, so we are really good at doing video. And it's prime time stuff. It's not just crappy stuff. It can go on cable TV, it can go on movie theaters. So it's high quality digital stuff. Because of what you just said, we have to go faster to our culture. Not the profitability, we have to get aligned with it. We actually produce a TV show on WebEx every other Friday at 10 o'clock. We pick an offering, we have a special guest, and we talk about a topic. And it's like an ESPN talk show. Nothing fancy.
Pardon the interruption.
Something like that, but it's usually around all-inclusive printing, talk at a high level, only business terms. We preempt it with some needs. This is what our customers are asking. We have a guest. We open it up to questions. And with 100 people, we're averaging about 69 participants. We can actually track it. That's been one of the things we're doing. The leadership, we don't have any managers anymore. We can't say that word. Leader has a definition. And the leader must come and talk. And they must be at the 8 o'clock meeting every day to get aligned to our stuff. We're putting our stuff on people. The content, which is video, or this TV show. The SIB, you guys know about ITEL, Continuing Improvement Board. The 8 o'clock meeting is SIB. It's a continual improvement every day. 5 years, no end in sight. We continually improve. When we stop improving, we'll stop improving. And the people that show up put our stuff on, and then they share with other people. So getting aligned, starting with small groups. I believe someone asked me earlier, start small, get the rock stars going, celebrate the rock stars, talk about it, and all of a sudden it took about 3 years to get 60% of our people there. 3 years. And I don't think I'm done. I think I'm about 82, 85%. It's difficult, but necessary. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about the compensation plans that you have for your reps?
That's probably one of the hardest things that I'm asked to talk about all the time. IBM is notorious for ringing my phone all the time about this. They still don't have a compensation plan for 2014 yet, because it's very, very complicated. And it's complicated because of a belief system. I don't know about everybody in the room, but we paid our reps on margin. Every 30 days began and ended. What did you do this month? What are you going to close this month, right? We've been doing this for years. Margin, margin, margin. Margin is the devil. So when we started, we did it a blended approach. We gave our reps the same comp plan and said, if you will sign recurring revenue every single month while the world is changing, I'll give you 10% for life, as long as they can collect. So they have perpetuity. Guess what happens to perpetuity? You stop working. So the perpetuity thing, after 3 years, was great for the reps still doing margin, but for the new reps, it was horrible. They became mommies instead of hunters and killers, so to speak. So the new compensation plan is predicated on a base pay and a kill fee. And what I do is I give them a recurring revenue contract, say it's $1,000 a month. I multiply it by 12. I don't care if it's a 3-year contract or not. It's 12 times 1. It's $12,000. I give 15%. Once during the calendar year they go over 100,000 of annualized revenue, which if it's 1,000 a month, what month 8 is that 96? Still do math without a calculator. So month 9 they go to 20%, to 200,000 and to 25 and so on and so forth. So those are small deals. The new reps, the older reps have bigger deals, but they don't even know about the company. I don't want to tell you. So right now it's a kill fee based on a year, based on number of revenue on an annual basis, and they have a base pay. And no one seems to be worried about it. It seems to be great. Seems to be, I checked it against Rackspace, SunGuard, somebody else I checked. We're way more lucrative than those two folks. Way more. So it's a kill fee. You got to get away from margin. Especially the good reps that are now probably complaining because not making as much money. They start asking for stuff now that's obviously not their fault. It's your fault. So you got to be prepared to transform them as well. And margin, once we get off the margin kick, we're great. Coming back to you, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Good? Everybody else?
It seems to you guys to say, I'm not in, I'm going to walk away. Do you have a process for customer selection as well?
Because of data management, we now fire customers. With dignity, the humility, we blame ourselves. Our discovery process, we can't get on board with it. We stay down. You win fast, you lose fast, you win slow, but you never lose slow. And you can't get in my system if you're broken. I'm sorry. Legal firm, 40 lawyers down Chattanooga. I saw their rack, and I swear to you, there's nobody on the planet fixing it. The cable was like 4 feet outside the rack, everywhere, disgusting boxes. We said, we're not even going to consider managing you unless you get that fixed with your life process. I'm not going to change it. I can't fix you. I can't get to a baseline. You must get to a baseline before I manage it. I didn't do that at the beginning. Very costly. So we serious process to get in our system. We say no a lot. We lay out the SLA, what you're going to do, what we're going to do. And guess what? If we break the SLA, we send them a check. Most of our customers don't even know they're broken or they violate it because it's so much better than they ever had. And we just send them a check, right? Yes, very, very difficult to keep up with customer problems. If you just think it's money fraud. And that's what they think most of the time. You just say no. Then when they say no, they go, what do you mean no? And they get inquisitive. Well, how do you know you're not broken? Well, Jim or Bill's been doing it, Susan's been doing a great job. How do you know? They told you? You know, give me proof. We show them a 27-page document and they go, you haven't even passed 10%. You're at such a high risk. You have 50 emails that aren't even here anymore. And then their jaw just drops. And we charge them for the assessment. Yes, but we're confident now that we do humility and grace, but you can't get it.
And was that part of your culture change, determining what customers you were not going to onboard and not work with?
The salesmen are pretty opinionated about stuff. You get between them and a dollar. And I was salesman, so a lot of times about that. It was very tough. And we have to say, you know, but we're past it like that. So the beginning was really, really hard. You don't understand. Like my kids are talking. You don't, of course I understand. But you can't do this unless we run the assessment. And when we run the assessment, they have to pay for it because I'm giving them the architectural needs to their whole network and they can shop us. So charge them $1,000 and they go build it somewhere else. Okay. Man, we never navigated it. They actually are making money on architectural design. It shows that you really care, to be honest with you. You're like going to a doctor and he doesn't do an MRI. He's ready to do surgery. Whoa, I'm an expert now, something, right? Give me a little something and you know what you're doing. It shows validation, it shows you care, it shows you how to process. And that's what our customers want. Prove to me you can change my oil. I'm not that worried about it. Take the transmission out, do something more fancy than that. You got to prove to me that you're doing something right. You got to show your process. It's got to be on display. And one of the ways by doing it is by discovering what they currently have. That mind mapping tool, instant gratification, instant credibility. You do that, game over. We've never not signed a customer with mind maps, ever. We've never not signed a customer that we charge for the assessment. When they talk me into not doing the assessment, it's about 50% of the time.
You said that MPS, you started in sort of managed print. What portion of your business is now services related outside of
Outside of,
managed print? So other IT services.
I can't answer that because I don't have it in my head. I look at it as I want to be 60% of my revenue managed services. And we're about 54, 55. But not regular maintenance and not selling toner. That's outside of that number. But if you're doing print management with me, all inclusive, that number is in there. Good, thank you. I got some cards. If anybody needs any help, I'll serve you any way I can. I'll help you get started. Just, Lisa's got my info. I'll help you any way I can. I wish you nothing but the best.